Sarah Strong's obviously closing games, but in the final 5 minutes of a one-possession NCAA tournament game, who gets the other 4 spots? Because Geno Auriemma is choosing between experience, shooting, defense, size, and upside, and somebody talented is going to be sitting beside him. This is not UConn's best player ranking. This is the championship trust ranking.
Prime field.
UConn enters 20, 26, 27 with 13 players, but late in a tournament game, that number usually shrinks to 5. And Geno's decisions will not be based on recruiting rankings or scoring averages alone. Can you defend without losing your assignment? Can you handle pressure? Can you make the extra pass? Can you stay on the floor when opponents attack you every possession? Today we are ranking every Husky from the most trusted closer to the player with the longest path toward championship minutes. We will also build 3 different closing lineups, the default 5, the small ball group, and the lineup UConn uses when it desperately needs a basket. And the biggest debate might not be at guard, it might be whether UConn needs a center at all. Let's start with the one placement nobody can argue. Sarah Strong is not merely number 1. She is the player who determines how everybody else fits. Strong averaged 18.4 points, 7.7 rebounds, 3.8 assists, 3.4 steals, and 1.6 blocks while shooting 58.2% from the field and 40.4% from 3. She led UConn with 699 points, 293 rebounds, 130 steals, and 62 blocks. But the most important number is not her scoring average. It is the number of rolls she can perform during the same possession. Watch her screen, catch at the elbow, and read the weak side defender. She can hit the cutter, attack the lane, or reverse the ball before the defense resets. Defensively, she can switch onto a guard, protect the rim, or close the possession with a rebound. Geno can use Strong as a forward, a high post creator, or a small ball center. That flexibility means UConn can change its closing lineup without taking its best player off the floor. Trust verdict, completely untouchable. The late game question is not whether Strong plays. It is which position she plays, and which 4 Huskies survive around her. At number 2, give me KK Arnold. Not because she is UConn's second best scorer, she is not. Arnold averaged 6.9 points, but she recorded 174 assists against only 43 turnovers. That is a 4.05 assist to turnover ratio. She also produced 102 steals and shot 54.4% overall. That profile matters late. When the crowd is loud, the defense is switching, and every possession becomes a decision-making test. Geno needs somebody who can get UConn into the correct action. Arnold also gives him a point of attack defender who can disrupt the opponent's primary guard before the action develops. The concern is obvious. She shot 33.3% from 3 and 69.6% from the line. In a final minute possession, opponents may help away from her or force her to finish the game at the stripe. But her ball security, defensive pressure, and experience still make her UConn's safest organizer. Trust verdict, the default late-game point guard. Strong's the system center. Arnold is the player responsible for getting the system started. This is where the ranking gets interesting. Blanca Quiñonez averaged 10.7 points in only 20.2 minutes as a freshman. She shot 53.6% overall and 39.5% from 3. She finished 3rd on the team in total scoring despite making no starts and appearing in only 31 games. Quiñonez gives UConn something championship lineups require, a player who can punish whatever attention Strong creates, help too aggressively towards Strong, and Quiñonez can catch and shoot. Close out hard, and she can put the ball down. Switch a smaller defender onto her, and her 6'2" frame-up becomes a mismatch. She also played 20 minutes in the Final Four against South Carolina, finishing with 7 points, 4 assists, and 3 steals. That does not prove she is already a perfect closer, but it shows Geno was willing to use her under maximum pressure. The next step is consistency. Her role will grow. The scouting report will become more detailed. The decisions will become harder. Can she maintain that efficiency when she becomes one of the first names opponents discuss? I think she can. Trust verdict. Projected closing lineup lock and the best candidate to become Strong's secondary scorer. Now we reach the first real fight. Ashlynn Shade is number 4, Kayleigh Heckel is number 5, but this gap is extremely small. Shade started 38 of 39 games and averaged 26.8 minutes. She gave UConn 7.6 points, 3.5 rebounds, 2.8 assists, and 1.8 steals. More importantly, she committed only 53 turnovers all season. Shade understands UConn's spacing, defensive rules, and off-ball responsibilities. She does not need to dominate the ball to influence a possession. That makes her safe. The issue is her 31.8% three-point shooting. Against a defense willing to crowd strong and live with Shade's shooting, UConn may need a more aggressive offensive option. That option could be Heckle. Heckle averaged 6.9 points and 2.8 assists in only 18.7 minutes. She shot 53.9% overall and 38.3% from three, while recording 108 assists against 44 turnovers. She also played 17 minutes against South Carolina in the Final Four, 16 more than Alli Zebel. Heckle offers more speed, more downhill pressure, and a second reliable ball handler beside Arnold. The counter-argument is lineup balance. Arnold and Heckle together can pressure the ball, but neither is a high-volume scoring guard. That places more creation responsibility on Strong and Quiñonez. So here's my split. When UConn wants discipline and defensive structure, Shade closes. When it needs pace, pressure, and another creator, Heckle takes that spot. Trust verdict. Shade begins ahead because of experience. Heckle may finish the season ahead because of versatility. Alli Zebel is the most dangerous situational player on this roster. She made 58 threes at a 41.1% rate. Against Xavier, she scored 34 points and made 10 shots from behind the arc. When Zebel is moving without the ball, defenders cannot simply load the paint against Strong. Her gravity changes the floor before she even catches it. But trust requires two-way survival. In the Final Four loss, Zebel played 1 minute. That is difficult to ignore. Against elite guards, can she stay connected through screens? Can she defend without giving up penetration? Can Geno keep her on the floor when opponents repeatedly involve her in ball screen actions? When UConn trails by 4 with 90 seconds remaining, Zebel may rank 4th. When UConn leads by 2 and needs one defensive stop, she may not rank inside the closing 5. Trust verdict, elite offensive closer, but not yet an automatic championship closer. And this could become the season's loudest fan debate, because every minute she sits is a minute UConn leaves a 41% shooter on the bench. Olivia Vukosa enters at number 7. Jana El Alfy is number 8. Vakosa is a 6'5" freshman who averaged 17.8 points, 18.1 rebounds, 5.5 assists, and 4.4 blocks as a high school senior. The assists are the key. UConn does not simply need size. It needs a center who can process the floor quickly enough to preserve the movement in Geno's offense. Vukosa's passing gives her a legitimate chance to close against teams that are too large for Strong at center lineups. But freshman centers face an unforgiving learning curve. Screening angles, defensive coverages, foul discipline, physicality, knowing when to help and when to stay attached. One mistake can decide a tournament game. El Alfy already understands the system better, but her 2025-26 role raises questions. She averaged 4.0 points and 4.1 rebounds in 11.5 minutes after starting 27 games the previous season. Against South Carolina, she played 8 minutes and recorded no points or rebounds. El Alfy can help against traditional post scorers and offensive rebounding teams. The concern is whether opponents can attack her in space or use her defender to congest UConn's offense. Here's the debate. Does Geno trust the experienced center with known limitations, or the freshman whose passing may fit the system better? My prediction is Vakosa eventually passes El Alfy, but against smaller teams, both may watch Strong close at the 5. Morgan Shelley is number 9, and she is the ranking's biggest wild card. At 6'2", Shelley has the size and defensive potential to become an ideal connector. If she stays healthy, protects the ball, and defends multiple positions, she could climb into the top 6. But potential and evidence are not the same thing. Until she produces against high-level competition, the proven guards remain ahead. Kellis Fisher is number 10. She averaged only 5.8 minutes as a freshman and missed all 14 of her three-point attempts. Her athleticism and defensive energy are intriguing, but she must become a more controlled half-court player to enter the late-game conversation. Jovana Popovic is number 11. She arrives with Serbian club experience, a league MVP award, and a best shooter honor. That background could help her adjust faster than the typical freshman, but earning closing minutes in this backcourt will require her to beat multiple veterans. Maureen Durses is number 12. Her immediate challenge is similar. Learn UConn's defensive language, make fast decisions, and establish one bankable skill that forces Geno to use her. Gandhi Malu Mammal is number 13. She has size and rebounding ability, but Strong, Vakosa, and El Alfy create a difficult path to late-game front-court minutes. None of these rankings are permanent, and Chelly's defensive versatility, Popovic's shooting, or Fisher's pressure defense could change the hierarchy quickly. But entering the season, all 5 are chasing players with stronger evidence. So who actually closes? Here's the default two-way lineup. KK Arnold, Ashlynn Shade, Blanca Quiñonez, Sarah Strong, Olivia Vukosa. That group gives UConn experience, length, rebounding, and enough offensive balance, assuming Vakosa earns Geno's trust quickly. But my preferred small ball lineup is different. Arnold, Heckle, Shade, Quiñonez, Strong. This is UConn's pressure lineup. Arnold and Heckle attack the ball. Shade handles the positional details. Quiñonez provides length. Strong becomes the backline defender and offensive hub. And when UConn needs maximum shooting, Arnold, Heckle, Ziebell, Quiñonez, Strong. That lineup forces opponents to make an impossible choice. Send extra attention at Strong and risk a Ziebell 3. Or stay home and allow Strong to attack one-on-one. The weakness is obvious, rebounding and interior size. That is why Geno's closing 5 may change from matchup to matchup. There may not be one permanent lineup, there may be 4 players he trusts, and one spot he changes depending on the opponent. My early closing hierarchy is Strong, Arnold, Quiñonez, and Shade as the safest 4. The 5th spot becomes a season-long battle between Heckle, Vakosa, and Zebel. Heckle wins when Geno needs pressure and creation. Vakosa wins when UConn needs size. Zebel wins when UConn needs points immediately. But here is my prediction. By March, Kayleigh Heckel will force her way into UConn's most used closing lineup. Her combination of ball security, defensive activity, speed, and improved shooting is simply too useful. And the biggest surprise may be that UConn's highest-ranked center does not close its biggest game. If Strong can survive at the 5, Geno can surround her with 4 guards and wings who defend, pass, and attack. That might be UConn's most dangerous lineup. It could also be the lineup that gets punished on the glass. That is the gamble. Now it is your turn. Who should close besides Sarah Strong? Does Shade's experience matter more than Heckle's upside? Is Ziebell's shooting too valuable to leave on the bench? And are we seriously underrating Jana El Alfy? Drop your personal closing 5 in the comments. Subscribe to Prime Field for more UConn rotation rankings, scouting breakdowns, and championship debates. Because once the season begins, this ranking will change fast.
Prime Field.